Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a motor swap on a 2008 Kia Spectra. So kind of start off with you're going to take the hood off, obviously just to get it out of the way to pull the motor. And if you got to cut one of these, your windshield wiper fluid thing, I would cut it like kind of right there, and you can get the little fixtures at the store. They're pretty, it just looks factory with how that one is. Anyways, you're gonna have to take off your strut brace if you have one. It's kind of like limited or whatnot, so not all of them have it. You're gonna have to take off your AC compressor down there, or back there, sorry, and then your power steering compressor, and you're gonna just flip them to the side so you don't have to get them charged or have any leaking problems. And take off the cold air, obviously take the battery out, take the radiator out, and then you're gonna do your motor mounts down there, over there. And then you're gonna want to undo your bell housing bolts all the way around on the transmission so you can disconnect it on your transmission. All right, before we get underneath, I'm kind of gonna give you a little run through of what we did real quick. So obviously move power steering off to the side. We undid the top two bolts on the AC, so when we go underneath we can get it, pop the motor mount bolt off. Undid the fuel injector lines, tuck that out of the way. Undid the throttle cable, tucked it out of the way over there. Obviously radiator's out, battery's out. Disconnected most of the bell housing bolts, and then I disconnected all of the motor wiring harness plugs. Undid the slave cylinder bolt here so we could pop it off for a manual. Undid the shifting linkage. Undid the fuel line itself off the fuel rail and tucked that out of the way. Also undid the heater core hoses, and then we're going to leave this motor mount on right here until we get underneath, so it's just a little more secure underneath. We're going to basically undo the rest of the motor mounts, undo the exhaust here so we can disconnect it from here and just pull that out with the engine. Also undo the AC from underneath. Now that you're underneath the car, you're going to have to pull off these two bolts for the exhaust, and then you're going to pull off this one to disconnect it from the motor. This one looks fine. You got your bell housing bolts right here. And then back up behind the seat, you're going to have the starter bolt. And then you're probably going to undo this motor mount. Okay, now that we got the AC disconnected and everything underneath, we ended up pulling this motor mount all the way off. We got hooked up, ready to pull. Motor mount here, and it should come right out. When you're gonna come out over here, you're gonna have to pop your shift fork out and pop it up and out of place so you don't break anything. All right, now you can see that we got the motor out. We ended up undoing this transmission mount here to make it a little easier, to give ourselves a little room to pull the manual transmission back. You're gonna have this clutch fork pin in here, and you're gonna need to turn it that way a little while you're kind of prying it all the way around, or breaking the bell housing all the way around the motor. It'll just be easier to kind of work the top and the bottom, and then probably give that thing a little turn. Can't really see or get to, they're going to be on your wheel well over here, and there's two caps covering that. So up here you got these bushings that come out, and there's little notches right up in here. You want to make sure you get that notch on here lined up with there. Same thing with that bottom piece under there. I'm assuming if you don't have those lined up, you're going to end up having clutch problems. Now we're ready to put the motor back in and get it installed. Got everything kind of tucked away in line. You got your throwout bearing kind of lined up, ready for the clutch fork pin to, you know, slide it back in. You got your belts and pulleys kind of set up and ready for when you get the car or motor installed. Make sure there's no leak. Got radiator back in. Got it all finished up, and that is how you do a motor swap. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.